Hello, early learners, and welcome back to the art room on this Valentine's Day. I thought, what would be more fun than finding art that has heart in it? Heart and art rhyme. Heart, art. They both say art. We have 4 artists over 5 days, so that means I'm repeating one artist, and he is one of the artists that's in the pop realm. So let's start out with hello, nice to see you, everyone. Hello, nice to see you, everyone. Hello, nice to see you, everyone. Hello to you, hello to you, hello to you, hello to me. Hello, nice to see you, everyone. I'm starting out first, though. I want to say hello to a group of children at Del Mar Elementary School in the TK class. They watch all the time and do art, but I didn't realize at Williams in Miss Noonan's class, we have an artwork from Hazel. Now Hazel sent this, and she also sent her home address, so she got one of our books to entertain herself and have some fun with. So if you send your art and send your address with it, we will write back to you. And thanks a lot, Hazel. All right, boys and girls. Let's talk about who we're meeting today. Let's take a look at our chart and see who it is. I also wanted to caution you, when you're talking about people's age, the kind thing is to do, if you're saying they're older, older sounds nicer than old. So here is where Robert Indiana, our artist today, he's an older gentleman. I wouldn't say he's an old man, because that makes him sound kind of like he has gotten old and can't do things. But if you say older, that just is a kinder way to say it. His name is Robert Indiana, and his art is behind him. Now, you can't really tell what the art is just looking at this picture. So we're going to look at a print of one of his sculptures, which is right next to him over here. Now let's look at the letters. L-O-V-E. Can anyone think, what does that spell? L-O-V-E. Now this one's standing straight up, this one's tipped on its side, and this is straight up and this is straight up. The word is love. And what Robert Indiana, his real name is Robert Clark, but because he's from Indiana and he wanted to make Indiana kind of famous, he became part of the pop art movement. And you know that pop art means popular art. And he was born in Indiana, and his best known image is this one of the love sculpture. Now above it, I have brought, this was what made that love sculpture famous. He made a greeting card that said L-O-V-E on it, and he made it for a museum in 1964. It was a Christmas card. And then 9 years later, they put it on a stamp when stamps only cost 8 cents. And now that became something that brides and grooms like to use for their wedding invitations. They like to have a love stamp or a beautiful stamp in the corner when they send their invitations out. So now we have a song that I have put the letters L-O-V-E here, and it goes, L is for the way you look at me, and L, love, and look start with the same letter. O is for the only one I see. Only and one start with O. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore can. Now this song was used in the movie The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan, and they sing it about her parents getting married and getting back together, and it starts out the movie. And if you like this song, you can look for it on YouTube because it's on there. And my favorite version is the Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra version. All right, so this week, we're going to do a lot of things with hearts to celebrate Valentine's Day. Even though today is Valentine's Day, we'll make the whole week be week full of love. So this project, if you're going to be able to do it with me, you can have white paper and masking tape. You can use any of your coloring tools. I think I'm going to be using watercolors, a brush, and some water, but I also have some tempera paint, and I'm using a sponge maybe and printing it that way on my paper. So let me set these two things aside and get ourselves the little table up here, and I'll show you what we're going to do. Remember, I told you it's really a frame, and I turn it over so we have a good place to work. And a frame really goes along with art because oftentimes we put our art into a frame. Here's my piece of white paper. The best way to use this is if you have a square. Now mine is 6 inches. Oh no, I think it's more than that. Let me see. It is, because each box is 6 inches. Mine is 12 inches wide and 12 inches tall. And to find the middle of that, if you don't have a ruler, is just to put the corners together and do a little fold right there. And do the same thing the other way. Put the two corners together and do a little pinch on the corner. But what I'm doing is finding my middle, and I know half of 12 is 6. So I put a little mark here at 6 inches, and I'm going to cut this in half, and I'm going to do it with my pencil. You can decide if you want to do yours as a fold or if you want to draw the lines with a pencil. So let me put, and I did it on this side, I marked 6 inches. I did it ahead of time so you didn't have to watch me measuring. There we go. Now I have 4 6-inch squares. And I'm going to put L here, O here, V here, and E here, just like Robert Indiana did. Now, what am I going to use, you wonder? If we're going to do this kind of as a resist, I'm going to use masking tape. And I already cut a bunch, and I wanted to show you the easiest way. Now, since my squares are 6 inches, I'm going to make my letters 5 inches. And what I used was painter's tape because it doesn't really rip your paper when you take it off. The reason I'm cutting it is because the edges make it sharp. So let me put this on my ruler, and I'll put this here, and I'll go down. I'm making it 5 inches, and see how I made it to the end of the ruler with the tape? Then I used my scissors, and I cut it off at 5 inches. You don't have to do that. If you want to just rip yours, and it will just maybe have a little bit of a ragged edge, you decide what you think looks best. Now, the first letter I'm going to do is the letter L. And we know the letter L is made up of one big line and one little line. So I'm going to set this one big line, start at the top. We always start our letters at the top. Yes, we always start our letters at the top. Is this the top, top, top? Yes, it is. Now my second piece, I don't know if it looks good being so giant, so I'm going to cut a piece of it off. I made a bunch of 5-inch pieces while I was waiting for you folks to get here. So let me put this now on the bottom. I'm going to make it even and press down. So there is my first one. There is my L. Now the O that Robert Indiana used was a nice curved O, but making an O with masking tape would take a lot of ripping and turning and ripping and turning and ripping and turning. So what I'm going to do is make it into kind of a rectangle. And because I want it to look like his on its side, I'm going to set my paper like a diamond shape or a rhombus. So I'm going to put this, oh, that's a little too long. So I'm going to cut that off a little bit. I'll put my tape right here. So I'm going to make the long sides and set that on there. And then I'll do a second one. I'm going to measure it and make sure it's about the same size and cut off that little end. I'm doing the two long sides so they'll be parallel. And parallel means the same distance from each other at the beginning and the end. See how I want them to be like an 11. I want them to be side by side. Now I'll put the bottom one on like this. Put the edge on there, go over, and if it's too long, I won't let it touch the paper. I'll just cut it off a little. There. Oh, it made it a little crooked. I want to even it out. So I did that. It doesn't have to be perfect, boys and girls, and you'll see when I show you, when I lift this up, I let it be a little bit longer on this side, but that's okay because it'll still look good. Now I'm going to put this other piece over here and close it up. And maybe I won't make it have a crooked side this time. I'm going to put it down and cut it off like that. Now we have the L-O. Now what letter goes here? It's 2 big lines. They're too big, I can cut them off a little bit. Top, oh, that's a shorty. Top, down, at a diagonal, V, and a top, down, and a V. And the last letter is the letter E. And I'm going to measure that with my ruler. Remember how I did it? I put it at the number 5, pull it up, put it at the number 5, and take it to the end of my ruler and cut it off. And then we know that it's made of 1 big line and 3 little lines. So I'll start at the top, start at the top, start at the top, start at the top, start at the top. Wonder how long this one is. If it's, oh, 4 is even too long. I think I'll make this one about 3 inches. I think it looks better as a shorty. Oh, it does. Let me see how long that was. 3 and a little more. I need to cut a few more. 1, 2, top, bottom, and the middle. There we go. Now that we've got our letters all cut out, we can either paint, or you can rub with the side of a crayon, or you can use your pastels. I have a pie pan that I got all ready with different colors that I want to use. And I also brought a couple of sponges. And I like to get my sponges a little wet at the beginning. Now I'm going to use magenta on my L. So I get it in the paint, and I get a little off of it because you don't want it to be super globby. And then just go next to your letter. And I'm just doing pick up, put down, pick up, put down, pick up, put down. I'm going all the way to the line. If it goes into the next square, are we going to worry about it? Nope. I'm just going across. Some of this will be a lighter color, some of it will be a darker color. I kind of like that varied look. It doesn't have to be all solid for me. Ooh, that makes a lot of noise when I hit it on the paper. Let me move it up because we don't want the people who are helping with the camera have to have big noises in their ears. There we go. I'll put a little bit more paint and I dab it off. Inside my pie pan, I have a little piece of paper towel, and that picks up some of the paint, and it also makes it so that the paint can stay on there without dripping into each other. Okay, I think I like the way this looks. I think it's covered pretty well. Now I'm going to go on to the O, and I'm going to put this sponge aside, and I'm going to show you how I would use it if I was doing my paintbrush, if that's what you've chosen to do. And maybe I'll use this reddish orange color and see how it looks. I think I'll put it on the E. Oh yeah, that looks good. It's kind of an orangey, and I like a little bit of orange on it. I'm going to mix it in the lid of my watercolors and see how that looks. Go right next to the tape. If it gets on the tape, that's okay, because the tape is going to make it not stick. Now, you know when your family paints, if you've ever seen your family painting something, a wall at your house, they often will tape off part they don't want to get paint on things, like maybe around a door or around a window, something like that, because that's what this painter's tape is for. It marks things so that it doesn't get paint on places you don't want it to go. So even though you really want to wait until this is dry, I'm going to paint it and show you what it looks like before my paint all dries because I know that this paint is going to take a little while to dry. I hope it doesn't rip my paper when I take it off. I think I want to mix some colors in here because this was looking interesting, but I think it might look good if I do some mixture. You know, however you paint it is what we like. Because if mine looks exactly like yours, people will say, what happened? Did someone make this on the copy machine? And you say, no, I made it myself. And they'll say, well, why didn't you pick your own colors? Why did you do everything the way Miss Readwright did? Maybe you want to use cool colors. Look, all of mine so far have been warm colors because all of the heart colors that I think of, pink, orange, maybe lavender, but those are all cool, the lavenders and blues and greens, but I'm using things that you find on Valentine cards a lot of times. I always think of red and love. Alrighty, so that's another way I could do it. I just used a paintbrush. Ooh, I'm dipping into my watercolors. The brown was getting on the bottom of my V. Let me move these over. You might decide to use tempera paint, which I used on this, on all 4 letters. You might decide to use watercolor on all 4 letters. I'm just showing you different ways you might want to do it. Now, I'm going to use one of my oil pastels. And what I'm going to do with that, let me move the tempera paint off so I don't get it stuck on here. I think I'll use this light pink and rub the side of it, touch the chalk against there and go down, down, down. I'm touching my pieces of tape so that it gets right next to it so you can see where the letter starts and the color begins. And it's a little different pink than the one right above, because what would happen if I used the same color right next to each other? You wouldn't get to see that it was 4 different squares. You notice I'm using just the side of my chalk to rub, rub, rub. Using it like this just makes it have solid. I like it to have a little texture. If you want it to be solid, then you can do that. And we know the other thing you can do with these oil pastels is you can rub your finger and move the color together. And so if you're a person who doesn't want any white to show, just do that. Use your finger and rub it along. And just make sure you keep a tissue nearby, because that way, if you get up from your place where you're working, you don't want it to get on any of your furniture or on any of your clothing. So be sure that you just wipe your finger off before you get up from your space. Watch, I always keep something here. Then if I want to go on to another color, I can wipe my finger off. But if you think about that, always have some paper towels near you when you're doing art, because sometimes you want to print with it. Oh, that would be a good thing. I know, I wasn't even thinking of doing that, but there is a way of using the paper towel. We've done it in other projects before, but there's a way to do this where you paint and then you can scrape things on it. Like I brought my scrapers. I made one out of sometimes your parents might get a credit card in the mail that they didn't ask for. It's just a trial one, and sometimes they let you use it in your pretend grocery store or something like that. But mine came with 3 scrapers, and if you're in a TK class in Fresno Unified, your teacher has these scrapers. So if I paint this, oh, this is going to be good. You will like it. I think I'll use my red, and I will paint over here, but leaving the paint kind of thickish, because I want to scrape it with my scraper. So if I get this paint down here, I'll show you. This red one is the one I like to use. And if I hold it on the edge and scrape it, look at the texture it made. It made little stripes on there. Do you see? All down there. So I'm going to do it all the way across on all sides of the O. Get my paint on there. Get it in there. Oh, I better get a little closer to that orange because it's trying to be just plain. I think maybe I'll do my stripes one way and then another way. Better do it before it dries. I'll do that one down, and this one maybe I'll do it waggly. Oh, that's kind of nice. And if I don't like it, I can paint over it again and scrape it again. No problem. Boys and girls, while I'm finishing this up, I'm going to tell you about tomorrow. Remember Andy Warhol? He was a pop artist, and we learned about him a few times. Oh, I like it straight. I better do this over. And we learned about Keith Haring, and he was a pop artist, and he was a graffiti artist. Well, tomorrow, we're going to learn about James Goldcrown. Isn't that a great last name? I just picture him going everywhere with a crown on his head made of gold. But I think it's just his name. It didn't say that he was called something else, because I don't know him very well. I haven't studied him very much, but we're going to learn about him tomorrow. And by doing that, he has some art that he calls the love wall. The love wall. What will a love wall be, I wonder? I would really like to see your LOVE. If you send me a picture of you making it, or if you send me a picture of it completed, I would love to see it. Let's see if my tape will come off without ripping my paper. Say, alakazim, alakazam, my magic comes. Alakazim, alakazam. Oh, boys and girls, wait till you see this. Let me move the tape over so it doesn't double back on itself. Look, there's my white L. Wherever the tape was, it didn't get painted. Let's take off the O. L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. It's coming off. Ooh, it's also ripping my paper a little bit. I think I pressed down too hard. It's okay. I still like the look of it, and I can still read the letter. L-O-V-E. Okay, back to what, oh, I'm getting fingerprints all over this. Boys and girls, you will want to wait until it's dry, I think. But you can see my O. See my fingerprints all here and here. Or I could always paint over it with white paint, maybe. Let me get some of my finger paint off. I started telling you about James Goldcrown and his love wall. It's called Bleeding Hearts. What could that be? What would make it bleeding? I don't know. But what I'd like you to bring is black paper, a variety of colored construction paper, little scraps. Not tiny, but if you have any extra, or you can bring whole paper. I want you to bring scissors, glue, and I want you to bring chalk pastels if you have them. If not, you can bring crayons, because this is just going to be making different hearts and rubbing them. So maybe it should be something that you can rub, either chalk pastels or oil pastels. I'm bringing a tissue to wipe my finger off in between. But let's finish doing this. I'll finish taking off my tape. Get this V off of here. Oh, good. The books I'm reading this week, 2 of them are really songs. Tomorrow's book is going to be Mail Myself to You. If your teacher has that song and you sing it, it's a Woody Guthrie song that I really like. Woody Guthrie does some songs with his son, Arlo, and they sing about love. You'll like this song. And I love that it's in a book, a children's book. It's kind of small, so be ready to look up close on your TV set tomorrow. Boys and girls, shall we say goodbye? Nice to see you, or should we say, oh, it's time to say goodbye to all my friends? I think, oh, it's time to say goodbye to all my friends. Oh, it's time to say goodbye to all my friends. Oh, it's time to say goodbye to all my friends. Oh, it's time to say goodbye. Give a smile and wink your eye. Oh, it's time to say goodbye to all my friends. Now, boys and girls, what I think about this is I think I'm going to put a background on it to make it like a frame, because that makes it stand out more. Like, look at it against white paper. Doesn't show it very much, but look at it if it was on a piece of blue paper. What do you think about that? I think that looks good. And if you wanted to, you could go around the inside with another color. You could use your oil pastels and do polka dots, like maybe for Yayoi Kusama. If I added polka dots to these, I think I would like that too. Boys and girls, when we learn about James Gold Crown tomorrow, I hope that you'll be thinking of a person that you might make this heart art for. And give it to someone you love, because people love getting Valentine's Day gifts. So today, spend time loving the people in your family. Maybe make them a Valentine card. And I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye, boys and girls.